Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone to the 919th Special Operations Wing first Facebook Live Town Hall. I'm here with Chief Webb, our Command Chief, and Captain Katie Saunders, our Public Health Emergency Officer, who you'll meet here in just a little bit. But, Chief and I have talked to a lot of people in the last 6 to 8 weeks. We put out a lot of information on our public website, on our app, and on our Facebook page. But we've gotten some feedback that maybe you might want to be a little bit more interactive, give you the opportunity to perhaps ask some questions of us and do it in a little bit more of a live setting. So here we are doing our first Facebook Live session. If it's something you like, let us know. We'll do some more of it. If it's something you don't like, let us know that too. So what we hope to do today is put out some information. Some of it you may have heard, some of you may not have heard, but then, like I said, give you an opportunity to ask some questions as well. We probably won't get to all of them. If we don't, keep those questions coming. Let our PA shop know. Email them into your supervisors and we'll get you answers. And we'll talk about it here in a little bit, how we'll get that information out to you. Let me just start out by saying, as you know, since March 11th, really since the March UTA, things have been a whole lot different than 9/19th. And that's all due to the coronavirus, COVID-19, and the restrictions that come along with that. But ever since that time, my priorities have remained the same. I want to protect our citizen air commandos and their families. I want to maintain the ability to do our mission and preserve our combat capability. And then finally, I want to work to stop the spread of coronavirus and COVID-19 in our community and amongst our troops here in the 919. Every discussion we've had since then, every decision we make kind of focuses on those priorities, primarily that number one priority of taking care of our citizen air commandos. Chief, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, sir. What Colonel Merrill and I want to make sure that everybody does within our wing is make sure you stay connected. As you know, one good form of resiliency is being connected, being able to communicate amongst all of our troops in and around the wing. Our first sergeants have been involved at the squadron level, knocking it out of the park every day. I meet with them weekly through a virtual means just to check on them because we have to make sure they're taken care of, but they're doing a fantastic job of taking care of you. But we've got some great programs around the wing. We have MFLAC doing virtual counseling if needed, POTIF, resiliency support team. They're all there to help keep us connected and to watch out for us, and it's about being real good wingmen. And those services are not just there for our airmen, they're there for your families as well. So go ahead and take advantage of them and do them. Sir?
Yeah, that's a great point, Chief. Thanks for that. What I want to do now is take the opportunity to introduce you to our Public Health Emergency Officer, Captain Katie Saunders. Captain Saunders has been here since day one with us. She's helped us. She's been a rock star and certainly invaluable to our command team. Captain Saunders?
Thank you, sir. So the 919th Public Health Team continues to monitor the spread of COVID-19 daily. The mitigation efforts we've taken so far are working. Locally, we're trending down in the rate of positive cases and hospitalizations. Florida's had a total of 35,000 cases, a little over that in total, and our local Tri-County area has seen 358 cases as of this morning. The stay-at-home orders and the restriction of movement, they've worked to flatten the curve. However, this virus is still circulating in our community, and it's very contagious. The medical community remains cautious about the possibility of a resurgence in infections. So I would encourage everyone, as the local communities start to open up again, just because things are open doesn't mean you have to go out. Especially if you or a family member are high risk. Please continue to practice physical distancing, avoiding large groups of people, wearing a face covering in public, washing your hands frequently, cleaning and disinfecting those commonly used surfaces, and stay home if you're sick. Stay cautious and be careful with your activities. Get your flu shot in the fall as soon as it becomes available. The symptoms of COVID-19 now include cough, fever, chills, shaking with those chills, headache, sore throat, muscle pain, and especially a sudden loss of smell and taste sensation. If you have symptoms of COVID-19 or you think you might have been exposed, please get tested. There are a lot of testing opportunities, centers that have opened up in the local community, both for drive-through and walk-up, as well as the facilities on Eglin and Hurlburt that are available. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact your medical care provider or public health, and we can point you in the right direction. And I want to remind everyone too, as a reservist, if you do test positive, you are required to notify your chain of command. Back to you, sir.
All right. Okay, thank you, Katie. One of the things that Captain Saunders mentioned that I just want to reemphasize is the impact that you might have on our force based on your decisions and your actions. We know that restrictions here in our area of Florida are starting to relax a little bit, but that doesn't mean it's safe to do so and to go out and participate in some of those activities. Katie said it best, the virus is still out there, all right? So please think about the impact you're gonna have to our force should you go out and relax some of the standards that we've had so far too early and perhaps bring some risk to our force here in the 919. Okay, what I want to do now is take the opportunity to answer some of the questions that we've already gotten in from our force that have been emailed into us, and even some of the questions that I've gotten through some of the meetings that I've had, some of the interactions I've had with members of our wing. And I can tell you what the number one question I hear is, when are we going to get back to normal? And the answer I have is pretty much the same all the time. We will never get back to normal. We will never get back to normal here at the 919th the way it was over our March UTA. It's just simply not going to happen. But you know what? I think that's a good thing. We have done so many things since coronavirus and COVID-19 has driven us into the situation we're in that have been good for our wing. We've harnessed new technologies. We've got a huge tech refresh from our conswatter for some folks. To get after some teleworking capability. And the coronavirus and this telework has driven us to do a lot of things differently and more efficiently than we've ever done before. So in that respect, I think we will continue and look at some of those efficiencies for ways we can improve the way we do business in the future. So that's a good thing. At the core of that question, though, I think what people are really asking is, when can we come back to work here at Duke Field? When can we get together and do the things that we're used to doing as a squadron, as a group, and as a community here within our wing? And I tell you, that's purely conditions-based. We've got to look at the conditions in Okaloosa County, where we are, and then the surrounding counties, Santa Rosa, Walton, Escambia counties, and see what the effect of the virus is in those particular areas. We'll also take inputs from our host wing, the 96 Test Wing in Eglin, as well as Hurlburt Field. All very important decisions to bring back people to work here at Duke Field in the 919 Special Operations Wing. And I got to tell you, we're going to take it into phases, and we're going to take a measured approach to returning back to work. The Secretary of Defense put out a stop movement order, a couple of them. The most recent one was revised on the 20th of April, and that restricts our movement as military members and DoD civilians to the 30th of June. What that means is that in terms of, in the near term, things won't change very much for us here. Max telework, mission essential only here on Duke Field, but as conditions change in our area, we're going to look at, like I said, that phased approach to relaxing restrictions within the wing. Some of the things we're looking at is a downward trend in active cases in our local area, looking for at least 14 days of that to happen. Then the next phase might be the total disease burden to our community is significantly decreased. No evidence of spread in the community might be the next phase. Limited cases. And then the ability to aggressively test, trace, and isolate those individuals who do have the virus is a big part in all this. HP count levels, of course, change, and then the end of the declaration of a public emergency. All those things have to happen before we can return to some semblance of normal here, or at least bring back people to work at the 919th. And I got to tell you, just for some expectation management, it could be a while. We need to wait for the virus to run its course. There's talk of a cyclical nature of this virus, as well as a vaccine not being readily available to everybody for quite some time. So 12 to 18 months is probably not unreasonable to get back to some semblance of back to work here at the 919. During that time, we need to continue to protect our force and our families and continue to do our mission in this wing. So in the near term, though, what's going to happen with the June UTA? I know that's on everyone's mind. Well, like I said, that SecDef stop movement order goes through June 30th. But what that order also says is that they're going to reassess it every 15 days. So I can't really make a great decision on what's going to happen with the June UTA until we know what's going to happen with that stop movement order. Once we get some more fidelity on that, if things change, I will let your supervision know as soon as I know. But regardless, we'll make a decision at least 2 weeks prior to the UTA so you can plan your lives and talk to your employers and make the decisions you need to make. Okay. With that, I think I want to start getting to some questions now. And we've got quite a few. So the first one is, if this is going to be closer to the new abnormal, and max telework will be more of a future ops normal, is there any additional funding being considered for tech refresh, possible computer upgrades? The increased capability for VPN has been helpful, but some of our hardware is being exposed as a weakness. Maybe some of the money saved could be repurposed to new priorities. Well, I gotta tell you, I couldn't be more proud of the 919 Special Operations Comm Squad. They are rocking it. Since day one, they have been almost working 24/7 to get our telework capability up to its maximum capacity. It's pretty incredible. They've changed out computers, fixed broken computers, repurposed others, put on new software, developed software with our mission partners, all for us to use here. In the short term also, we've looked at spending some money, and we put together a proposal that we're going to talk about later this week with our financial management folks and see if we can maybe repurpose some of the money we have to get at that tech refresh. So that's definitely something we're looking at. All right, there's another one. What are your thoughts on letting members on orders at Duke Field but living outside the local area take leave and go home? Some members have been here since March and live over 100 miles away. Well, that is a tough one. The latest SecDef stop movement memorandum relieved us of some travel restrictions. However, and unfortunately for those members, it does not authorize government-funded leave and travel, and it includes a restriction on personal leave and other non-official travel outside the local area. But I will say this, there are exceptions to policy for humanitarian reasons and even extreme hardship. So if that applies to you, I ask you to please bring that up with your supervision and your squadron. All right. When members are stuck on deployment, how and when will they get home? I'll tell you what, Chief, you think you could take that one?
Sure, sir. If a member's stuck on deployment on getting home, unfortunately, as the boss said, SecDef has, with the stop movement on 20 April, allowed us for people to move. The issue we're running into is the transportation. So the Installation Deployment Readiness Center and the Force Generation Center are working to get the transportation to bring those members back home as soon as possible.
Yeah. And I will say in the several meetings that I've been in over the last few weeks, that's the number one priority of our command. So getting our reservists who volunteered to go out the door and deploy back home is one of our number one priorities. All right. Yeah, the next question. Yeah, I hear this one a lot too as I walk around base, and it's good that we get this question because it means our people are thinking about it. So when is the gym going to open? And can it be open sooner at a limited capacity? Well, I got to tell you, the best person to answer that question is our public health emergency officer. So I'll turn it over to Katie. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we're having those discussions now for the gym and other facilities on base, including the DFAC and dining facilities. Like the Colonel said, we're going to be taking a measured approach to opening those in accordance with DoD, CDC, and state guidelines. A lot's going to depend on the local conditions and the HPCon level, as you mentioned. We'll say that there are a lot of options right now for members to continue their physical fitness. The Human Performance Lab will work directly with members to maintain their fitness standards and their goals. And also services and POTIF are putting out a lot of virtual fitness classes. So I encourage members to take advantage of those things as well. When the gym and facilities do open, like I said, we're going to be taking a measured approach. It will probably be limited capacity at first. We want to make sure that we're allowing for that social distancing and allowing our facility managers to clean in between use and really clean and focus on the safety and the health of the members. That's our main goal. So that'll be a very slow, measured, limited opening.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to make sure that we do it right. We want to make sure that we have the right equipment in place to clean those facilities and to make sure that we're keeping our airmen safe. Remember, back to priority number one on that. Yeah, kind of going along with that. Well, before I get to the next question, I do, just something Katie mentioned, I got to give a shout out to our POTIF team, Major Jenkins, and all the people that work with her. Man, they are doing a great job. If you follow the Duke Field POTIF site, they're putting out workouts every day. They are engaged mentally, physically, spiritually. Our whole resiliency team is attacking each one of those pillars, and our POTIF team is just doing great. Kind of go along those lines, though. I've gotten this one in the last week or so too. Can members expect another extension on Fit to Fight assessments, primarily for June, I would guess? Well, like I just said, we don't really know if we're not going to have a June UTA yet. It's probable, and if we do go down that route, I expect that it hasn't been released yet, but I would expect another 6-month waiver to the June Fit to Fight. I tell you what, you can be safe though by just maintaining your physical fitness all the time and being ready to test. That's always a good bet. Okay. Is September going to be open for annual tour? Well, from a wing standpoint, I say yes, it is open for annual tour. As part of the fiscal year, I would expect that you would be able to conduct your annual tour in September. And I really need you to work through that with your squadron leadership and your squadron supervision. I understand the concern, though. We've had a lot of changes this year. We've had some exercise canceled. We had some training opportunities canceled. But yeah, and that's for that reason we want to make September available for people to accomplish their annual tour. Kind of go along with that. UTAs are being conducted virtually for many reservists. Some unit members are having to reschedule UTA periods and postpone scheduled annual tour due to the stop movement order. Will there be a provision to ensure members will get credit for a good year if they're not able to meet performance requirements? Yeah, I tell you, this is, we have done a lot of things this year to enable members to get that good year. I understand that's a huge concern for many people. Liberal excusal, liberal reschedule policies, all at the discretion of squadron leadership we've authorized. These are all courses of action to facilitate you getting that good year and getting the training you need to done and meeting readiness requirements. Virtual options are encouraged. I know some units today are doing virtual classes, which is awesome. They're allowing their folks to do computer-based training. They're allowing them to get on and do some training courses otherwise. But one of the things I really like is they're doing video courses and classes and training for their members. So all those things are at the discretion of your squadron commander and your squadron leadership to get after that good year, to make sure you can get it, and to make sure we get our readiness requirements accomplished at the same time. So kind of with that goes the next question. Can we do more than 16 UTA periods per quarter? Well, yes, we can. Our crack team at 10th Air Force was on top of that before anyone even asked it here. General Borgen has signed an authorization, permission to let us do more than 16 UTA periods per quarter. And so that is authorized. Once again, just with the other things, I'm totally leaving that up to your squadron commanders to figure out how they're going to manage that and how you're going to manage that to meet the requirements they have for readiness within the wing. Because anything over 16 inch cord definitely needs to be tracked. So please make sure you're doing that, but it is authorized. Okay. All right, on to the next question. Yeah, I've heard this one a couple times this last week. Can I get promoted if I'm showing not current for dental or medical requirements and cannot get current due to COVID-19? What about enlisted PME waivers? What about all other promotion requirements? What can be waived, exempted at the CC discretion, the commander's discretion? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to turn that one over to you, Chief.
Okay, all right, sir. So yeah, these are critical things that go on with our career, go along with development, getting promoted. But AFRC is aware of these challenges, and they are drafting exceptions to policy due to COVID-19. And these exceptions will be published as soon as they're approved. We're in daily contact, weekly contact, of getting updates and getting them out to the force to understand where you're going to go with your force development, your promotions, etc. Another question, sir, that came up is can wings nominate people for step promotion if they meet all promotion eligibility criteria other than testing? And that's yes. Right now in the 919th, your group superintendents are working on step packages. They're reviewing the criteria, going through the packages, and we've seen some great packages so far. So yes on that one. And then next question that we got in regards to development or enlistment. If an airman is nearing the end of the term of enlistment, can commanders extend members 60 days without the member's signature? And that's no. Nobody can be extended on an enlistment unless they have the written consent of that person. So during this pandemic, career advisors have been directed to obtain consent via email of those eligible members, and they'll get extended enlistments in 60-day increments.
Yeah, that's important. And I'll just bring up a point on that one real quick. A lot of changes, like I said, throughout the wing over the last couple of months. But what we really want to do is make sure that we're taking care of our airmen. And with that, we do not want COVID-19 or this situation to impact any opportunities that they might have for advancement, for education, for development. You remember, RIT, readiness, innovation, partnership, and development. Those are the priorities we laid out at the beginning of the year. So that development piece is certainly one of those, and we want to make sure people have the opportunity to do that. Okay, I just want to pause here real quick and see if we've got any more questions from our social media sites or from our wing app. Okay. I'm getting a nod. Okay, I'll tell you what, there is one more, and this one's kind of important. We've had people who might be retiring. Is there anything special that we can do for them on Facebook page or something we can do to recognize their service over the next couple of months? If we're not going to be back to normal anytime soon. I attached some protocol guidance I received in my email today, and maybe there could be a ceremony with a handful of people. That's how it is on Sunday when I tune in for church service. Well, absolutely. One of the worst things we can probably do for our airmen during this time is not recognize their service to our country and to our wing here in the 919th. So, the Air Force just this last week put out some guidance on protocol guidance on conducting ceremonies. So we can certainly use that. But what we can also do is let our PA shop know through your chain of command, or you can just call them. And we can recognize those folks and those people for their service on every platform that we have to do so, because we do not want to lose that throughout the midst of this pandemic. So, yeah, we can absolutely do that. Okay, So we've been doing this for about 25 minutes. We've answered several of the questions that we've gotten, and I just want to remind you that we will post this for people to watch after the fact. We'll also post some websites that will show where you can get some answers to frequently asked questions, both at AFRC and Air Force Personnel Command. There's tons out there, so we'll make sure that we can post that for you. But as always, our web app, the 9/19th web app, our Facebook site, and our public website are all good sources of information as well. Okay. Yeah, before I wrap it up, what I want to do is give each of our participants here an opportunity to say some final words. So first, let's turn it over to Katie.
Thank you, sir. So I would just say stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, and please reach out to public health if you have any questions or concerns.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Chief.
Just want to put a reminder out there that with the restrictions that we've been on, we have airmen that live across the United States. So just be cognizant if your local area goes ahead and frees up, coming here to Duke Field still might be under different sets of restrictions. So just be aware of that and keep your leadership informed of what's going on in your neck of the woods, and that way they have a better understanding of what's going on. Be safe and be smart, sir.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Chief. Thanks, Katie. I appreciate you both being here for this. Yeah, for our first town hall once again. I just have a couple things I want to say real quick before we go. The number one thing is our mission is continuing the 9/19th. We have people doing the mission around the world every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That has not stopped. Our mission continues here. We're projecting combat power all over the world all the time. And I'm proud of our folks for doing that. The next thing is information is constantly changing. There's new guidance almost every day. There are new waivers every day. There's new procedures every day. So those websites are great, but the best another source of information is your squadron and your chain of command. And so please stay connected with them. Reach out if you don't feel you're getting the information you need. And once again, all those sources that I mentioned before are all good sources of information if you need it. I mentioned a few instances of the innovation that our airmen are using across the wing as a result of COVID-19. But I tell you, I can't be more impressed than what I've seen in the last 6 to 8 weeks. Our airmen, our citizen air commandos, know that they need to get the mission done. And they have figured out new and innovative and different ways to do that. They're stepping outside their comfort zone. They're using technology that they've never used before. They're using alternate work schedules. They're juggling their work schedules at home with their job as they normally do, all to get our mission done. In fact, just a few examples. The Civil and Engineering Squadron, Chief and I walked around a little bit and talked to some folks. The last UTA, our first teleworking UTA, the Civil Engineering Squadron knocked out over a third of their training requirements and their mobilization readiness requirements over the telework UTA. That's just amazing. And they thought about innovative, different ways to do it. So good on them and appreciate them doing that. Our IGI, they're doing virtual inspections. They've done that before, but they're ramping it up now. They're reaching out virtually to help our squadrons, to make sure that our squadrons are doing self-assessments. Incredible. They're working with them to work through MICT and iGEMS and some of the programs we have to track those. All very good work by our IG shop. Our comm squadron. I couldn't be proud. If you go over there to the comm support shop, there are not a lot of people running around in there, but they are doing a ton of work to make sure our wing is set up for success. So great work on them. And then just before this meeting, I was over at our medical squadron. Just this UTA, they've done over 50 PHAs. Several of those they've accomplished the medical requirements virtually. So like I said, we are figuring out new and different ways of doing business. That's good. This situation has forced us into doing those things, and that's good. So out of bad comes some good here for the 919. So I can't be more impressed with our folks for the things that they're doing. Please keep doing it, and I know they will. All right, and then finally, before I came here, I was told about it, I've seen it, what I'm about to say, in the last 6 to 8 months, but I've really seen it in the last 2 months under Corona-19 and COVID. The 919th is a family. I have seen, and we've been through some tough times in the last couple of weeks since COVID and coronavirus hit, and our restrictions. We've had some knocks here at the 919th, but I have seen our airmen reach out to others and support them in ways like I've never seen anywhere else. I couldn't be more proud of the way they reach out and support our people and take care of each other. And that is all paramount to getting our mission done. And I couldn't be more proud of what I've seen. So I'll say that if you are someone that needs help, if you have a problem or an issue, or this coronavirus is hitting you in a way that we may not know about, please reach out to your squadron, your supervision, your leadership, so that we can address it and we can help you. And then for those of you who are helping, for those of you who are reaching out to our airmen, please keep doing that. It's the core of what we do, and that's it's our number one priority, taking care of our airmen and making sure that they're safe. Thank you all. Hope to do it again. If you like it, like I said, leave some feedback, and we'll do it again. All right, take care.